the sunrise flight here on the Coyote Medicine Show. Only on the Hazy Radio Network, baby. We have take flight right into the great daylight. That's right. Right here on that Coyote Medicine Show on the Hazy Radio Network, baby. We love you.
Oh, yes, we do, man. This old man, too, old man Grandpa Coyote, sitting here in the Spaceship Love 9,000 feet high in the Rocky Mountain sky, babies, and just loving the life right back into you, babies. A breath at a time, a heartbeat at a time, a moment at a time, babies. We're just there all the time, no matter what that moment is. Because here on the Coyote Medicine Show, only on the Hazy Radio Network, we show that we care. We demonstrate it again and again and again, just so we can all be checking in, babies. You know, it takes a little confidence. It does take a little leap beyond fear to let your heart draw that near, to let yourself become that one under the sun who is the sun shining too, inside and out, babies. Ooh-wee. Talk about shake and bake. And that'll end every bellyache, babies. You'll never have nothing go wrong ever again. But it does take just that little gunch, that little roll. That's where we get the coyote medicine from. That's what it's for. It's what it does. It gives us that little gunch just about the time you think you're checking out or checking in or whatever. It bites you on the fanny and says with a grin, hey, take a look. You're going round again. And there you are, babies, just rocking down like a rock star, living a quiet life that is so filled with delightful moments. You can't hardly believe, you can't contain the rapturous joy you feel, man. It just rolls through you. It expands from you and touches everything and everyone around you. You become like a positive radiator of dynamic, truthful love. The softest, sweetest kind there can ever be. The kind that's nurturing, don't you see? That's what brings life forward and ends all of the misery. Only a mother's love can do that. The deep heart of the mother inside each and every one of us. See, you want to talk about the arrival of the divine feminine, the arousal of the divine feminine. It's not a gender war, and it's not about a gender winning. It's about the arousal of the greatest love ever known. The love of the Divine Mother in each and every one of us, which has been put asunder for a good long while now. We've only allowed ourselves little bits of it here and there. This is what's made us so hungry and so filled with despair. Because in the mother we knew that she would care us. She'd never let go. We'd always be there in that flow as long as she was there with us. But somehow we seemed to come apart. Somehow there was a separation of energies, a separation of life that brought forward what we called pain. Something that hurt deeply inside. An absence was felt. An emptiness arose and a pain to go with it. Pain is the emptiness of being alone, away from the nurturing mother love, the one heart, the one truth, the one reality that makes creation create and keeps us all grooving. Even when we're moving in directions we don't want to go. Mom is there to kind of ease you into it and help along the flow and get you through it. See, she's been there forever. We just didn't see her. It was a perceptional thing. We were robbed of our perceptional heart for a good long while. Literally, many people have been implanted with devices, highly scientific in their nature, that were designed to isolate the conscious mind from the rest of the experience of the person. That's why so many of us have felt numb inside, have had not much feeling, and have had to work to really get there. Work meaning allow ourselves to flow, allow ourselves to question what we already know, and not just make assumptions that that's the way it's always going to be. Not to be satisfied or to stop at any place just because you need the comfort and security of that moment to set you free. No. Security and comfort come after you're free. not before. Might be a little ruggedy, might be a little sore, because we're dealing with wounds that go so deep and are so powerful. They've kept us all asleep for generations without end, without any aids being implanted in us. Babies, that's how we stepped into the darkness. We perceived a loss of mother's love one way or another. I've seen it explained to us many different ways how it actually begun. It doesn't really matter, but it did occur in a sense. So what we've done then, in the terms of unwinding the effect of time, is we reached a point in the future as humanity, and it's about 500 years from now as I reckon it, and you tell me, but that's what I reckon it to be. There was a point where most of humanity was split off into a hybrid situation with an undesirable element of the universe. Let's put it mildly, okay? And there were those who had escaped that, who lived in the mountains and caves and so forth, but were highly evolved beings. They hadn't let go of the natural progression. You see, this is just one timeline, and this is just an old man telling a tale now. So if you find some recognition in it, beautiful. If not, it's a fun little story, and don't take it for any more than that, okay? It's a story. But there was that element of humanity that had managed to preserve themselves and kept themselves free, and somehow Mother Earth had struggled along and come out from underneath the dynasty and the tyranny of the industrial world and had regenerated herself. And, there was a palpable life here, but it came at a huge cost to humanity. We lost 3/4 of our hearts, something like that, by hybridizing with this undesirable element, you see. So there had to be some undoing, obviously, because that was not a pleasant future where anybody wanted to be. So these enlightened beings of the time of then, which is now, which is us, sitting here listening, sitting here speaking, us, the same darn bunch, these mechanical family, we're spiritual mechanic, baby, we're specialists, baby. This is what we do. We hit the trouble spots and we fix them until they're through. We've been here for a long time, babies. That's how the mothership got here in the first place. Brought us along. So we can be singing our song here and get it done right. And that's it. When we all sing our song together. Yet, unknowing of each other's presence, really, but yet we know it. But not standing beside each other, but standing beside each other's heart. When we all sing our song in that way, the Mother Earth has come to the light of day, and we have transformed it all. So that's what we're bringing forward here, is the song of your heart. The element of truth you have always had within you, that you were born with. And babies, some of it's been dark too. You got to embrace that as well. You wish to release death from within yourself, you're going to have to find a way to cease struggling with the elements that you find undesirable within your person, let alone in the world around you. You see, there's a way of just standing there and beaming the radiant love of your heart toward any energy or person that may be contrary to you in any way, and re-affecting that outcome immediately. The creation of miracles begins right there in sweet little moments like that, when you realize the power of this love. That's why we've chosen this way to demonstrate it to ourselves. That's why we made the darkness so God-blessed disagreeable, revolting, disgusting. Oh, and all those other judgmental terms we can heap on it, man. Some of the ugliest shit we ever could have imagined for ourselves. And babies, that is why. We needed to savor the flavor. We needed to know. We needed our asses kicked, and kicked really hard. And so we got it. But in a sweet way, really, when you consider how much worse it could have been. I know it's been ugly as hell. But imagine where it could have gone, and the dynamic of the true tragedy. There's lots of predictions and prophecies about things like that. That, thank God, have mostly been fulfilled and nobody recognized it. And thank God for that too. It's better we just get on through. Because here's where the magic of the moment is right now. So those beings up in those mountains there, you know, up there in that future year, about 500 years from now, are sitting there contemplating and they've been cogitating this for probably a few hundred years. What can we do? How can we reverse this flow? Well, obviously, they finally found some conscious presence. They found the means by which to flow through time, uninterfered and unrecognized, undetected by these others who had now assumed full control of humanity, more or less, and we were enslaved greatly, much more so even than now, in a sense, yet in another sense slavery is. And there were the free beings, and that's who freed us. Maybe a dozen or so, maybe 3 dozen, I don't know what the number is, but it's a small number. And these beings became the presences of love that began to examine the threads of time, to see where we had gone awry and where they would have to go to unwind them, and what they would have to do to become them. Now you know of a few of these lives because they're spoken of in the great legends of the great prophets and so forth. The saints that have come forward in the times of need and helped the people relieve themselves. They couldn't seem to go to the potty all by themselves. But in factual reality, what was taking place in those known lives, and now there's many moments that are relatively unknown in the history, because you've got to understand the history has been greatly changed by those who relegate authority here in this darker way, so they could keep you in the dark. You're like a mushroom, man. Just feed you shit and, you know, keep you in the dark. And let you grow like a little fungi. You know, functional little fungi. My goodness. What a way to treat a human being. That's not right. So we changed it. But we came back in these moments, in these lives that are known. That's who they are. They're these same persons. We'd come and take any kind of presence and form we want and any time we want. We have the magic. We have the power because we found the love. We found the love. And in finding that love in that future timeline, really, the rest of it was just drama. Just something to do to fill in the blanks. Because the moment we realized love, then we were there. And then humanity was already saved from that awful future. But in a mechanical way, in this way of time. We came back from there, went to all these little moments in time. It's taken 1 billion years, something like that, to unravel what we set forward in our humble beginnings as humanity here. But babies, we patiently and thoroughly accomplished the task. And for the most part, we did it very quietly. There were a few dramatic moments, again, that were known about. But for the most part, we kept it very quiet, you know, and just worked in the background of life. You know, we didn't have to be kings and princes. Occasionally there was a rulership came along, but mostly it was the quiet little beings in the background, you know, that worked in the light way, the lighter way, let's say. And know exactly, even though they're right down, dumbed down, right back. And see, this is the tricky part of being that time traveler and being the spiritual mechanic. It's every time you come back here, you've got to come back as a little baby through a mother's womb, which is modified so that you can exist there and grow as a little baby. And then you got to pass, you know, through the birth canal, come out into this state of being, and lose it all, and then spend your life trying to gain it back, trying to remember what the hell you're here for. And always knowing it'll be eating at you. Always knowing there's something. I gotta find it. Most of my early years were like that, just driving me berserko, man. Making me, you know, turn over every little rock and look behind in every little crevasse and, you know, shake every little tree I happen to go by. Are you up there? Are you in here? Where are you, man? You know? And finally it starts to dawn on you, piece at a time, of course, but it starts with when you do finally get some peace with your life, when you finally know who in the hell you are and what you're all about, or start to begin to find that anyway, you know, life turns. Somewhere, for most of us, you know, my generation, around 30, really started to ripen into be a person again, but it took a while. You know, what you guys accomplish in seconds took us years to do, you know. It's just a difference in time, difference in ages, you know. There was only a few of us in my time, you know. Now the crew's pretty much all here, and they've come from past, present, and future. I mean, now it's quite the assemblage of souls. And we're beginning to see that family come together here in the physical presence, the 3D world, in a place called Crestone, Colorado. And the area that surrounds it that I call Crestonia. Like the mythical land of Crestonia, here in this mythical land called Colorado, which is the larger land that surrounds the mythical land of Crestonia. That's where all that comes from, kids. Now you start to unravel some of the coyote mystery here too, don't we? Indeedy we do. Yeah, darlings, I think that's what you want to do today, is get out there and play, babies, because it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. It's Free Day Friday here on the Coyote Medicine Show, which means we're cutting her loose here on the Hazy Radio Network. No holds barred, baby. We're just letting the love shine, radiate. Man, just bringing forward the divine every which way we turn, every which way we see. It's just like living over there in paradise in Oregon, man. Everywhere you look, there's the face of creation, the love of creation, looking back at you, and not only that, embracing you, man. You never lived in such beautiful wonder in your life, yet you've lived in it all the time. Now you're just starting to become aware of it. Ain't it magic to be alive and living in this little paradigm, in this little reality of the right now? I mean, sure, we're headed to some beautiful places with it, but isn't it so damn cool? Don't you feel the earth hugging you, embracing you with each step you take here, even if it's just between the front step and the automobile and haul ass for you know where? Wow, man. Time to slow down a bit. Time to turn on. Time to really turn on. I mean, you know, next time you go running between the front doorstep and the car and making that mad dash for the city because you got to go be in your cubicle all day, babies, listen to what your heart's saying. Maybe it's going to slow you down a few steps. Maybe instead of turning toward the city, you're going to turn the other way this day, you know. And maybe this is Free Day Friday for you already, man. Maybe you're already headed in that direction, and the old Coyote Medicine Show just kind of caught up to you along the way. You probably got the Hazy Radio app on your phone, man. You probably got it plugged into your car stereo, listening to me just like regular radio in stereo, baby. Can't beat that now, can you? So get over to hazyradio.com/app/app, of course, and get yourself downloaded onto your phone, man. One button push, babies, and there's the Coyote Medicine Show right there on your cell phone. How about that? And you got the auxiliary little plug-in thingy, man. You can plug it into any device to listen to it, even an earphone if you have to. Get two of them. Get it in stereo, babies. It's always better in stereo. That's what I'm told anyway here in the radio biz, huh? Well, babies, it's Free Day Friday, which means we've released ourselves from the priz once again, baby. The walls have dissolved, man, and there ain't nothing holding us. There's no corner to stand in and look away anymore. You can't pretend the door's not open, because, babies, you've been set free. And just to prove it to you, they took the prison away. Then you become a new life in an unrestricted reality. It feels like the bottom's falling out from under your feet. You get a little dizzy at times, man, because it's like you're walking on air, you know. You just, wow. You're feeling so much lighter these days, you know. The restrictions of the past, just, I mean, there's still a memory, but it's just, that's all it is. It's not something dragging you down like, you know, a weight on your feet going to the bottom of the leg. Goodbye. No. This is rising to the top. And getting that first deep breath you've had in about 3 minutes and saying, wow, what an experience, man. What an exquisite life. What a great place of being. Mother water, Mother earth, Mother soil, Mother sky, Father sun, babies. Oh, I love you. It's just great to be here. And right at that moment, all of these energies smile upon you. And they unify inside of you. And you've been fully immersed in the baptism of love and didn't even know it, babies. That's how it comes. It's pure freaking magic. moments of sheer coincidence. My ass, these are synchronistic moments. Synchronistic moments. Yeah, there we go. I got it out. Wow, I said it. Born of synchronicity, baby. Yes, indeedy, that's what we see. As we emerge from that water, that gracious pool of water, the love of life returns to us such as we have never, ever, ever experienced before. Because we truthfully are set free in that moment to be the divine love that we are. And we are unrestricted. The old earth stays in the old earth and fades and, evolves, transforms. And from our solid footing in that old darkness, that world of chaos, comes the land of divine dreams, revealed for the first time ever. It's more than ascension, it's more than transformation. It's more than a feeling you have inside. It's very literal and real in this world. The evidence is mountain far and wide. Karina Shahab being amongst that evidence. And beautiful beings like her and Carrie Ellis and Ken Chorley and some of the others, Two Feathers, some of the others we've had on here in recent times, recent days. Wow, man. You start to get an inkling of what's really happening here. And we'll keep drawing these dynamic souls to us. The people say I should do a 24/7, video reality show in here because, man, through my doors come the most unusual and beautiful people. There is an assemblage going on. Sitting here in my little cabin up here at 9,000 feet in the Rocky Mountain High. And people just come in here on the fly. They just, materialize. Say, hey, Grandpa, somebody said I could not be to Crestone without blah, blah, blah. And there we are, man. Another ancient Satan soul. Another reawakening. Another member of the family revealed. And boy, there's a lot of them in this town. Most of them still kind of laying low, and I have trouble getting to them because I'm not as portable as I'd like to be, but we're working on that. Gee whiz. Seems like I just get portable and something happens. Wow. Got to stay portable this time. Somebody send me a limo and a chauffeur this time, okay? Just for temporary, 6 months to a year, 2 years, something like that. At my beck and call 24/7, right? Of course, I don't go anywhere much anymore, man. But I aim to. Babies, I have been up here on this mountain for a few years now, And boy, I tell you, my soul has been regenerated. My whole life has changed completely, and it continues to do so. And babies, I'm opening up and preparing to be your little skyrocket, babies. I'm going off. Like an atomic explosion of love, man. And I'm going to rip this place right down to the subatomic, man. Not so much in a structural way as in a mystical, reunion. A mystical rearrangement of all the basic elementals and particles and energies in life. So that there is for real, and for the first time in this dynamic, the poetic symmetry of the eternal harmony of the heart, being sung in every soul that lives here, including the animals, the trees, the birds, the air around us, the very air, everything, vibrant, alive, harmonious. Babies, we have never seen or heard such beautiful music in our time, except as we remember it from someplace. Yet this is the first time. Just like traveling back in time, this is the one time. Because this is the moment of now. And from this moment, time ceases to be. We don't live it linearly anymore. Linearly. Linearly. There we go. Why some of these big words stumble my tongue, man. That's just because we're all coming undone. Can't be the old psychotic, psychotic, the dudes all stuck in their head, man. You know what I'm talking about. Intellectual, yeah, the psychotic intellectuals. That's not allowed anymore, man. You know, intellect only is so limited, you know, and there's nothing to be arrogant about whatsoever, though some people are in their foolish righteousness, you know. But that's a beautiful thing. I mean, you know, I'm not belittling anybody. I think that's awesome. You know, if you can't feel something in this life, then you got to create something to feel, and I think that's a wise choice until you come to the land of feeling. And when you're in the land of feeling, baby, you are healing all of that other shit. And you, like I say, the facade falls away. You never have to again play in that way. It's total honesty. It's total right there in your face with the purest of love, the purest of life. Even though you've been down a tawdry trail and much has been heaped upon you along the way. And you've dealt with it rather dynamically, considering the circumstances you came from, babies. You've done so damn well with it, you know. And we cannot say anything but cannot do anything but say you all deserve an individual Academy Award for superior performance, especially under duress, man. Duress has made you your best, you know. When the going gets tough, the tough got growing. This time around, finally. The snakes could no longer shake their bacon, couldn't hold him back anymore, man. They just rattled off into the woodwork, man. And the dudes and dudettes came back to life and still are coming back to life, even as we speak right here in this moment on the Coyote Medicine Show, only on the Hazy Radio Network. Babies, spread them wings. Do them things with a heart that you know you've only dreamt of before, but you know are fully possible. Because if you dream it, babies, it can be. If you can dream it consciously, it can be even better for all of us, don't you see? Because each and every one of us has that song in our heart. Each and every one of us has the words to that song, our particular part, our piece of that harmony. And we sing it very, very well. We're experts. That's what makes us individual persons. We're the most supreme of experts in our area of expertise. Yet, we're multidimensional and multidynamic and can serve in any function that we please and do so well, thank you. The old days of, you know, this person's got that and that person's got that, well, you know, it still holds true because we all have our function in reality. You know, we're all a little cell in the body and each has its own personal function. Yes, indeedy. But because we are multidimensional, because we are more than intergalactic, more than inter-paradigm, we're inter-universal beings, which means, you know, we have access to all things. We are in all things live within us. The consciousness exists to not only accept that, but to be that, and therefore there is no experience denied you. That's how we got in this mess in the first place. As babies, we're entitled. We're spoiled brats. We can go anywhere we want, do anything we want. The catch is, you got to live with it, you know, and you got to overcome it. And, you know, move along, whatever it is. If you go that way, babies, nobody's going to stop you. Somebody might say, you may not want to do that, but, you know, you don't listen. You're a kid. You know, you haul ass for trouble. And then you got to get yourself out of that trouble. And sometimes that leads to a whole heap more of trouble, and sometimes difficulty mounts on difficulty mounts on difficulty. That's the way we've had it. And pretty soon we were doing something called war, and we didn't even know where the hell that came from. What the hell is that? War. Wow. You know, killing and maiming for the glory of it. I mean, that's insanity. But you know, Grandma and Grandpa, who fought the real big bitter wars, who used to behead one another and do all these cruel things, man, you know, they've forgiven themselves for all of that shit. What I mean is they understood that was just another step in time. It was really a step in progression, even though it seemed to be barbarically backwards, you know. It's tumbling towards the caveman again, you know. Well, we never got out of the caves. We never rose above that kind of mentality, though in each of our hearts there never was a desire to kill. It's something we developed because of a military mindset that prevailed in many nations and tribes around this earth. And it became a part of our lives, a bitter and harsh part of our experience. And like I say, out of the biggest pit of hell comes the greatest paradise. And it's kind of along those concepts that we've allowed it to even be. Now listen, We're time travelers, all of us, you know, but particularly this crew that I talk about that's been coming back since 2500 and has gone back to the beginning of time as the persons they are in the beginning. See, it's the same tribe all the way along, from the beginning to the end. It's the same tribe doing the thing. And everybody else feeling it and amplifying it and becoming it, you see, because we're all in it together. There's equity in everything, in everyone. But that's why you can also experience everyone and everything. Because of that equity, that thing that makes you the same, the common heart that is held universally in every life that lives. Doesn't matter if it's an E.T. Now, they are around, you know. There's been a great big deception in the E.T. world. We've talked about this before, and I'm not dwelling in it too much today, but let's just say, ooh, the governmental types have been fed a line like that. And so have the scientific community. We've all been kind of misled in a way in order to fool us into being ourselves again. To sow fear that we may be taken over, that out of that fear came something to let go of fear. See, it was something that all humans harbored in the bottom of their heart. They weren't even conscious of its existence. But they knew something was coming, and it could be pretty bad. They didn't really want to see it. So, babies, they dreamt it another way. All of us. I say they like it's us. Geez, us. How about that? We're our own saviors, babies. Jeez-o. Wowzo. Us. U.S., not the country. That means all of us united. Each one of us as that whole part of humanity. The heart that is all-powerful, but sweet as all get out, and never meant any of it. It cries all the time in each and every one of us for relief from the agony of the war that's been going on for what seems like forever inside of us, let alone that we allow to be reflected then in the outer world. Remember, it's a world of misconception, meaning, you know, we live it in as a fable. We live it as a metaphor. We live it as a projected reality. But we feel it and live it as if it's real, too. That gives it its substance and form. If we didn't believe in it, it would not exist. Our belief brings it forward, creates the creation around us, whatever form it has taken. Our mystical sense draws to us people, objects, beings, animals, energies that we need to associate with to more fully complete ourselves, so that we can live the most highly intelligent and divine life possible. Each of us is capable of incredible things, no matter what they've told you about your IQ or how slow or how fast you might be able to function in reality. Screw that. That's, you know, some kind of false identity projected upon us by those who would continue to enslave us, man. It's a way of dividing us, saying one's more smarter than another, blah, blah, blah. No. Darling, what feels right is what feels right. And that is that each of us, yeah, we have our unique gifts and talents. Absolutely. That's what makes us real. We also have so much common energy and behaviors. It's unbelievable. We're like a school of fish swimming in the same direction all the time and turning instantaneous like on a dime, all of us. The birds waving through the air, making magic heart shapes up there and stuff. And nobody's running into anybody. They're having a great time forming these beautiful clouds of wonder, singing their song as they do so. That's how incredibly synchronistic we are already, babies. As humanity, that's our commonality. That's what we share. The same as the birds and the fishies. And it's just as unconscious to us as it is to them. But babies, maybe we're becoming conscious of it now. Maybe we're learning a little more of who and what we truthfully are inside. Maybe we're learning to appreciate the dynamic of our person, so that we can appreciate and more largely love the greater person of which we're a small part. Indeed, yet essential too. The heart is where the action is. From that comes all the rest of life and experience along with it. You see, the heart is the divine intelligence in motion. You've been greatly misled into thinking this is just a vessel that pumps blood. Well, it does that. But when it comes through an enlightened heart, that old blood, as our friend Karina pointed out last eve, or today on the interview, I mean, that was last eve for me, today for you. There it is, man. You know, it gets to spinning through an enlightened heart. And babies, it renews itself. It becomes regenerative, and it spreads that regeneration throughout the presence of your being, and it transforms you all the way around. Your shape and form as well, if that's what's necessary. You become that which you most appreciate yourself as being. And there you are. Benign, yes, yes. Shy, perhaps, but beautiful, bright, brilliant, and unafraid. Unafraid to shine anywhere, anytime, all the time. Because there is no time. There is only this existence and the glowing love that expands from you into forever. And makes creation create and experience itself too. You know, even if it's in a bottle of brew, babies. Everything has its poetic elegance here. I mean everything. There's no exceptions. All life fits in the cosmic harmony of what is. Now our perceptions may not yet be able to accept that. But until they do, just see the pattern that's going on around you, and you'll begin to understand a little more thoroughly. Look in the past, you can see the present, you know. In other words, by traveling back in time, just in conscious memory, and seeing the inequities created there, and the effect of them as they're promulgated through your life. Well, you can also then imagine the reverse effect of that. Or how about a centering effect? The most dynamic of all, when the heart's energy is fully accepted inside of its own presence and becomes the powerful ruler of the universe that it is. Inside of you. Now what does that make you? The temple of love that houses the ruler of the universe. You are the home, the castle, in which it dwells. And you're fine and as elegant as any castle ever created. And the king and queen are quite comfortable in there. Thank you very much. The princesses and princes too, and all of the rest of the accoutrements to go with all of that. You see, the divine temple of truthful love. The experience of the divine family within the singularity of one little physical presence. Yeah, it's hard to stuff all that grandeur into a tiny little place like that. So now we're going to expand it a bit and give us a little more room here. A return to the presence of what we call light body experience. You still have the density and the form, but not near as dense, and even more elegantly formed than this, if you can imagine that. The ideal human form, as you have imagined it, is in creation awaiting our return. See, that's part of us too, you know. That's what we stepped away from in that other timeline. And babies, we're not missing it now. We've got it. The scientific community of the great future, hidden underground, so to speak, having to live, you know, in abject poverty in a world filled with, you know, wealth. But at the same time managing to change the whole of creation. Now these are some humble souls. These are some humble hearts that are able to do that. See, because the trick is, once you're in a life, going back like that, and attempting to change things by living in that life as the person that you were in that time, only doing things a little differently. That's essentially how it happens, how it has to happen. It has to come through the human dynamic. The human being in the 3D world, as we call it. It's part of the quote rules of the game. It's stupid, but there it is. So once you're in, you're in. And again, you lose all conscious intelligence, or most of it, that was born with you. That goes away rather fast. And then you spend, you know, a goodly share of your life very compelled to find that. You don't even know what it is you're looking for sometimes. After a while, it gets definition and form. It starts to be real. And then, babies, the dynamic and powerful things that needed to happen, however quietly they may have been expressed, we weren't always shaking our sticks at walls and making them fall down. Shit like that. Sometimes it was just a quiet moment of love, expressed in a backwoods town and nowhere, probably in Siberia or somewhere, you know what I mean? Nowhere. Sometimes it was something as simple as that. Sometimes it was taking the attentions of the presence of a queen away from a difficulty at a time when she could have, like, really screwed things up. So we distracted her and brought her back this way and brought her back. And so legends are made about love stories and stuff, and great wars were prevented. Moments that would have taken us into more darkness and ugliness are undone, you see. And mainly, it's all about relieving the traumatic effect. So by being in that time frame and living in that bodily person, and you do got to do the whole life. It's just like living it all over again, like being stuck in that place in time forever. But by living that life, you shared the transformative energy that was necessary in that time to turn the whole of humanity in another direction, to correct the effect of a traumatic effect. You know, the larger PTSD that occurs in all of humanity when badass things occur, you know, or what we perceived of as badass. Now we're starting to take another look even at those kind of things, because the divine intelligence is moving us to do so. We've got energies to release there. We've got some forgiving of ourselves to do yet. But babies, we're strongly in it, and we have survived it, and now comes the thriving part. The return of the wealth and abundance to each and every being that lives upon this planet within this reality. And that doesn't mean the banks are going to open the heart. It means the banks are going away, and money along with it. It means natural abundance returns, something you don't have to struggle for. Look around you. The animals live a simple and complete life and are well cared for by nature, right? Well, this tells you what a mule you are for not being able to fit in like that, for not letting the earth care for you in the way that she should, but forcibly taking it like rape. Well, babies, it's not a polite thing to perform such a thing with your mother, now is it? So, babies, we said to ourselves, no wonder we felt bad. I mean, this is probably what made us feel terrible, because we knew we were raping our mother. But because we were so dumbed down, we didn't see any other choice. Oh, man, talk about retarded, huh? Talk about a great place to come back from. Wow. If you can let go of that, you can let go of anything, man. If you can really, truthfully understand it well enough, why that had to happen, and why your part in it was played the way it was, then you've changed that part and you've changed that happening right along with the traumatic effect that went with it. You see, your heart can undo anything. And all of it comes undone energetically inside of you as you come to these points of remembrance and release and let go of the effect. Because this conscious effect exists because people in the past have lived these lives, have become conscious in this way. And now that energy exists in the wave of humanity, the energy wave of humanity. And it's expanding naturally. And everyone has access to it now. And therefore, everyone starts to get it. And no one is left behind and no one is turned asunder. Not a one. No matter how dark and devious you may have been or anything in between, man. No matter how many, I'm not going to say it. No matter how many times you've done anything that could have been, the least bit ill-colored or considered harmful to another, or had harm performed upon you. Many of us have drawn repeated harms to ourselves because we got this victim thing, but we just want to take on the crucifixion again. Well, hell, that was a fiction. Not that it didn't occur, but it's a whole nother story. And we'll talk about that sometime next week, when things are a little calmer and the energy is smoothed out. Then we can even start telling the longer version of some of these stories of our time traveler friends, who really have come from the past into the great future by living through all the lives they've lived. And from that great future come back into the past, clear to the beginning of time, and relive several different lives throughout the course of that history, to unwind the threads of the divine mystery that took us in erroneous ways. And in this way brought us to our ascendancy much earlier than would otherwise have been conceivable. But because we were wise enough to recognize that we existed at the beginning and the end of time, to know then that we were the same being and that our energy spanned all of time, this released us to be in that time any place we wanted to be, and to change things dramatically. And darlings, we baby Mr. Magoo's and stumblebutts too, but baby, we got through. We got it done. Mission accomplished. Happy to report. Mein Capitano. And the Capitano says, yeah, baby. Somebody break out the kegs, baby. And somebody get down the MJ. Somebody get out the Wildwood. Let's party, you know. Something like that's happening today inside of you as all your little cells and atoms begin to cheer and shout and twist and shout. And, you know, just, you're going to have to go out and shake it tonight, man, wherever you may be. I can feel that coming. Me, well, shoot, who knows? But I'm sure feeling a lot of calming energy coming our way, too, man. So I guess we'll be shaking our bacon in a very calm way this weekend, won't we? Free Day Friday really has freed us, baby. We're stepping away from all the old bullshit, you know. The generosity of the universe has proven itself to us again and again. And now, babies, we play the one big hand we've been waiting for. Yeah, baby. The one that brings us all out in equity and evens up the great score. Oh, yeah, I tell you. It's rock and roll time here in the Earth reality. And babies, we're well equipped for it, ain't we? Got some seasoned veterans here. We got some real training under our belt, baby. Let's hope you got some under yours. But even if you don't, baby, just face it. This is where the courage comes in. That's where the rubber hits the road. Have the strength. Notice that you do. To follow the heart. To follow that flow. It makes itself all too apparent to you now. Live your life as gracious beings from this moment forward, and concern yourself no more with what has been, for that is undone. And humanity is no longer on the run. It's not a race anymore. It's a civilization, completely united, a family. Completely united in the original mother's love from which all extend into this life. You'll understand more deeply the presence of this, and it's not to belittle Father energy whatsoever. That's there too. We live it all together. That's our function. That's our life. Oki says hi. And that's who and what we are. As we take off and fly here from 9,000 feet high in the Colorado Rocky Mountains, babies, the Spaceship Love, flying above for the rest of forever, babies, and reassuring everyone, hey, it's all undone under the sun. Now we begin the age of fun. Free Day Friday on the Coyote Medicine Show, only on the Hazy Radio Network.